My Weird School Special, Book Number 4, Bunny Double, We're in Trouble, written by Dan Gutman, pictures by Jim Pelot. Chapter 4, Mayor Hubble is no longer in trouble. We all ran over to the helicopter. This was exciting. Mayor Hubble is an important man. He's like the king of the world. It wasn't every day that we got to see such a famous person. A big cheer went up as Mayor Hubble stepped off the helicopter and waved to the crowd. His bodyguards came running over. They were big guys in black shirts and sunglasses who looked mean. Some other guys came out in a line and started playing trumpets to welcome Mayor Hubble. A few servants rolled out a red carpet so Mayor Hubble wouldn't have to walk on the grass. A couple of other guys set up a podium for Mayor Hubble to stand behind. Important people like Mayor Hubble always stand behind a podium when they talk. Nobody knows why. Mayor Hubble probably has a podium in his living room. It would be cool if he stood behind the podium in his living room and said something like, "I have an important announcement to make. It is time for me to take out the garbage." The principal of our school, Mr. Klutz, came running up to the podium. He has no hair at all. I mean, none. "Mayor Hubble," said Mr. Klutz, "to what do we owe the pleasure of your company? I thought you were in jail." "I got time off for good behavior," replied Mayor Hubble. "I would never miss the annual Easter egg hunt." All the kids gathered around the podium. Even the grown-ups came out of the house to listen to the mayor speak. Suddenly, everybody got quiet. "Welcome to Hubble Manor," the mayor said into the microphone. "Today, my house is your house. This is the people's house." "Hooray for Mayor Hubble!" somebody shouted, and we all had to do that hip-hip hooray thing. Mayor Hubble took a sheet of paper out of his jacket and started to read his speech. "Friends, families, students, teachers, and parents," he said. "What a wonderful day this is. Spring is in the air. Every year at this time, blah, 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 Easter, blah, 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 renewal of life, blah, 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 flowers pushing up through the frosty ground, blah, blah, blah." What a snooze fest. He went on like that for about 1,100,000 hours. I had no idea what he was talking about. My shirt was itchy. My tie was choking me. I thought I was gonna die. All I could think about was when Mayor Hubble would stop talking so we could go eat some peeps. Chapter 5, The Little Monsters. Everybody cheered when Mayor Hubble finished his speech. I wasn't sure if they were cheering because it was such a good speech or because it was over. Some guys rolled the red carpet back up and took away the podium. "And now," said Mayor Hubble, "I would like to introduce our hostess for the day, my lovely wife, Bubbles." "Bubbles Hubble?" Mrs. Bubbles came running over. She looked like one of those ladies in a shampoo commercial who swirls her hair around in slow motion. Mrs. Bubbles had on a red dress and high heels. She gave the mayor a big kiss and told him how happy she was to see him again. "Ugh, disgusting." "Hey, everybody," Mrs. Bubbles announced. "Thanks for coming today. Are you ready for our annual egg roll?" Egg roll, I shouted. Yippee! I love Chinese food. Not that kind of an egg roll, dumbhead, Andrea said to me, rolling her eyes. In an egg roll, you roll eggs. I knew that, I lied. Apparently, an egg roll is when a bunch of kids roll eggs along the grass. The first one to push the egg across a finish line is the winner. If you ask me, that had to be the dumbest contest in the history of the world. What's the point of rolling an egg around somebody's lawn? I'm not doing that, said Michael. That's for little kids. Me neither, said Ryan and Neil. Andrea and Emily said they didn't want to get dirt on their new dresses. The winner of the egg roll will receive a prize, announced Mrs. Bubbles. The first child to push his or her egg across the finish line will receive a wooden egg, personally autographed by Mayor Hubble and me. Mrs. Bubbles held up the wooden egg. Wooden egg? Alexia whispered to me. Where do you think she got a wooden egg? From a wooden chicken, I guessed. Alexia and I decided that it would be cool to win a wooden egg. We went over to the starting line. So did about 1,000,000 first graders. Look at these little munchkins, I whispered to Alexia. No way they're gonna beat us. This is gonna be a piece of cake, said Alexia. I didn't know what cake had to do with anything. Why is everybody always talking about cake? Mrs. Bubbles gave each of us a plastic egg and a long spoon. Then we went over to the starting line. Okay, is everybody ready? Said Mrs. Bubbles. On your mark, get set, let's roll. I thought that Alexia and I could just push those first grade munchkins out of our way, but it was the other way around. They were like animals, yelling and screaming and pushing and shoving and crying and swinging their spoons every which way. It was like a war zone. Get out of my way, some kid shouted. Watch out! Mommy! Ow! You hit me in the face with your spoon. I thought I was going to get trampled by those little monsters. They were brutal, and they were actually winning. If Alexia and I lost the egg roll, the gang would never stop making fun of us. That's when I came up with the greatest idea in the history of the world. Psst, I whispered to Alexia. Let's just pick our eggs up and throw them across the finish line. Nobody will know. You should get the Nobel Prize for that idea, Alexia whispered back. I bent down to pick up my egg, but before I could get it, one of those first-grade munchkin girls stomped on it. Crack! My egg was all over the grass in a bunch of pieces. Hey, kid, I shouted, you busted my egg. But that munchkin didn't care. She was long gone. Some other little boy monster stepped on Alexia's egg and smashed it. He ended up winning the wooden egg. After the egg roll was over, Michael and Ryan made fun of us for letting a bunch of first graders beat us. I thought Mrs. Bubbles might give us some peeps for participating in the egg roll, but she didn't. Maybe there's a peep shortage, Alexia told me. Yeah, maybe they have to conserve the peeps, Ryan said, so there will still be peeps left in 100 years for our children and future generations to eat. The peeps would be stale by then, said Neil. Stale peeps are better than no peeps, said Michael. Can't they just make more peeps? I asked. Okay, kids, said Mrs. Bubbles. Let's all go inside the house. All right, finally, it was peeps time. Chapter 6. I thought I was gonna die. Mrs. Bubbles led us inside Hubble Manor. There were separate rooms for the first graders, second graders, third graders, and fourth graders. Me and the gang went into the third grade room. A long table was in there, and you'll never believe in 1,100 years who walked into the door at that moment. Nobody. It would hurt if you walked into a door, but you'll never believe who walked into the doorway. It was our art teacher from school, Miss Hannah. She never throws anything away because she says everything can be art. Miss Hannah was wearing an Easter dress made out of old potholders. What are you doing here, Miss Hannah? Asked Neil. Are you going to pass out the peeps? Asked Alexia. We want peeps, I shouted, jumping up from my seat. We want peeps. I figured everybody would jump up from their seats and start chanting, "We want peeps," with me. I looked around. Nobody else was standing. Nobody else was chanting. Everybody was looking at me. Well, that was embarrassing. I sat back down in my seat. No, I'm not here to pass out peeps, said Miss Hannah. I'm going to help you do Easter egg dyeing. What? I thought Easter eggs were already dead, I said. Everybody laughed even though I didn't say anything funny. Not that kind of dyeing, dumbhead, Andrea said, rolling her eyes. We're going to dye eggs in different colors. It's my favorite thing to do in the whole world. Mine too, shouted Emily. She jumped up in the air and started hugging Andrea. Everything those two do is their favorite thing to do in the whole world. What is their problem? Why can't a chuck full of Easter eggs fall on their heads? We all sat down at the long table. Miss Hannah got out a bunch of eggs and cups and other stuff from a cabinet. She put a colored tablet into each cup and then poured water and vinegar into the cups. Ugh! The vinegar smelled horrible. I thought I was gonna die. Die. We put our eggs on these little wire things so we could dip them into the cups. Miss Hannah showed us how we could put stickers on the eggs or wrap rubber bands around them so the dye would only color certain parts of the egg. It was pretty cool, I had to admit. We dyed a lot of eggs. At the end, our fingers were all different colors. We had to wait a few minutes for our eggs to dry, so Miss Hannah had us sing this song called Little Bunny Foo Foo. Did you ever hear that song? It's about this rabbit that goes hopping through the forest. It sees a bunch of field mice that were minding their own business, and it starts bopping them on the head for no reason. That song is weird. We had to sing it about 5 million times. Then Miss Hannah got out crayons so we could draw pictures on our dyed eggs. I'm going to draw a pretty butterfly, said Andrea. Mine too, said Emily. I'm going to draw an elephant stomping on 2 butterflies, I said. You're mean, Arlo, Andrea said. Miss Hannah started singing that Bunny Foo Foo song again, and you'll never believe who poked his head into the door at that moment. Nobody. It would hurt if you poked your head into a door. I thought we went over that already. But you'll never believe who poked his head into the doorway. I'm not going to tell you. Okay, I'll tell you. But you have to read the next chapter. So na 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 boo boo on you.